Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor again to always collect in a space with dedicated, passionate, and hardworking individuals. I'm very excited for today's PHRC Lunch and Learn session. And with that, I'll go ahead and introduce our guest speaker. So today we are featuring Robert McKenzie. He is CEO, founder of SKU Inc., Stop Killing Us Incorporated, Vice President of Marketing and A&R of the Briefcase Group, investor, CEO, and founder of Quality Education Youth Collective. Robert McKenzie is a distinguished graduate of Sankofa Freedom Academy Charter School, where he completed his studies with first-class honors. During his senior year, he launched his entrepreneurial journey by founding a nonprofit organization, QEYC, Quality Education for Youth and Communities, at just 17 years old. Backed by a $250,000 grant from the School District of Philadelphia, QEYC provided employment opportunities to over 100 high school students in 2013. Since then, Robert has been featured on multiple podcasts and radio interviews, highlighted by The Source magazine on Instagram, and has hosted and participated in viral events alongside A-list celebrities, online influencers, community leaders, and elected officials. Now based in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Robert plays a key role in organizing community events and festivals. He currently serves as a youth outreach coordinator for PA Career Link, where he continues his commitment to youth empowerment and workforce development. At 29, Robert McKenzie has contributed to building businesses across the globe through strategic marketing and educational initiatives. His work focuses on breaking generational cycles of poverty by teaching individuals how to invest in themselves and pursue entrepreneurship as a path to long-term success. Today, his presentation is titled Product of Your Environment. And with that, Robert, the floor is yours. And you are muted, Robert.
Oh, thank you for that great introduction, and thank you for having me today. I'm definitely very thrilled to be a part of this program, and also to share my experiences through my life and how I feel as though this would definitely help impact a lot of youth and also people that was in the same situation as me. So. Like you stated, my name is Robert McKenzie. I'm 29 years old. I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. A lot of people know how Philadelphia is in certain environments as far as being a high crime rate city. I currently reside in Lancaster, which is the total opposite of Philadelphia, which is um, a high, a high environment for retirement. So Lancaster is one of the top cities in America for retirement, and Philadelphia is one of the top cities for violence. So just going through those and going through that process allowed me to see the differences of understanding how people value life and how others see life. And that's why I wanted to do this presentation today, more so proud of environment. Like in Philadelphia, I went to a school called Sankofa. Would definitely change my perspective on how I see my community and myself. And going through that at a young age, when I was growing up, I lost my father to gun violence when I was about 13. So that let me see what the world can be, but also it made it normal for me because obviously growing up in a deprived neighborhood, a lot of minority youth, minority males grow up without their father. Um, some could be gun violence, some can be justice system, some could be drugs, but that trend had always been normal. So having that loss didn't affect me as much. It may affect other people because my environment made it normal. So as I was going through life, I didn't know the impact of not having my father would have impacted me because all my friends didn't have a father, no matter what the situation may be. So it was normalized. So as I went through different schools, my elementary school was a public school in Frankfurt, and that showed me that. The education system wasn't too much as it should be. I thought it was fine. Obviously, as an elementary school kid, you don't really know what is the quality of education is, but as I went to middle school and high school, I went to Afrocentric school that was more so holistic and more so spirituality based and more so interpersonal. So that allowed me to understand myself and also allowed me to understand others, and more so also the educational system. Because even though I went to these schools in middle school and high school, I was still friends with the kids my elementary school. And those kids was typically in the same environment that I was in. So me seeing that I'm in this private school, it showed me that a lot of education was delivered differently. How students interact with each other was differently, as into the students, as into my youth or my peers that I had in elementary school. So as I turned like 13, 14, as I was 13 or 14, it allowed me to see what did I want to do with X, Y, and Z. But what made me go to these schools specifically, my mom had no clue about these schools. My uncle, who is Dr. Umar Johnson, put me into these schools. He was like, "Hey, these will be good schools for my nephew because they teach about Afro culture and things like that. And also, it allows me to learn about who I am and where I come from too, as well. When I was elementary school, I didn't have a really understanding of my family and where we come from. But once my uncle stepped into my education, it allowed me to do so. And that's what introduced me that African Frederick Douglass was a descendant of my family. He is my fifth grade uncle, and that allows me. And I knew in elementary school I was learning about this guy. I didn't know who he was or things that he did. But over time, I started learning more and more. And then to find out he connected to me and was the direct blind line of me and my family, it allows me to carry a different understanding and chip on my shoulder that I have a bigger responsibility. So as I was growing through life and learning more about my family, my generations before me, and understanding my history and my ancestors, it allowed me to develop more sense of self and understand my calling, which is to continue the work of helping my community. So as I go through middle school, I didn't take it as serious, but I was definitely figuring out my myself. Once I got to high school, that's when everything became a whole eye opener for me. That's when I realized like a lot of my friends, a lot of my family is somewhat stuck in an environment that they have always been in, even though they haven't think they are in this environment because they so accustomed to it that it's still a major barrier that's keep them in the situation that they wanted to be in. So once I got into 12th grade, I started internship because everybody know once you get to 12th grade, you got to do your senior projects, you got to do your internship and things like that to graduate. My internship was more so focused on starting a nonprofit organization, helping the youth, would turn into me creating a nonprofit organization. Um, Learning how my high school that I went to was teaching me, and then comparing that to my friends in the public high schools that they was going to, I noticed that most of it had to do with the curriculum. And my experience, obviously, I didn't go to school at that time or college to go for a teacher. I didn't go to curriculum writing school. I didn't learn how to write curriculum. I didn't learn how to write grants. I didn't learn how to teach. But going through the experience of learning how my teachers taught me and then the certain jobs that I had in the summertime helped me understand how youth and even my friends interpret or digest information. So over time, I was like, okay, the school district is have a set playing across the field on how to implement certain subjects and things like that, but it wasn't really resonating or relatable to my peers that I see every day, and that's why they didn't take it as serious. So as I was going through my senior project, I wanted to figure out how can I make this more entertaining? How can I make education more entertaining? And when I came up with the curriculum of my nonprofit, which is Quality Education Youth Collective, it was 21st century skills that allow youth to take education a lot more serious. And that's more so real life relatable things. Learn something in the classroom and implementing it into your everyday life of what keeps your mind going and driving and have that desire to learn more because you're feeding your mental, but you also acting it out in the physical. So a lot of people didn't a lot of my peers didn't see that because they didn't use that and they because their environment, you're not going to use algebra and at home when you got to figure out how to feed for your family, or how to help your little brothers and sisters, or if you got to run for gun violence, or you got to learn how to fend for yourself. The things that my peers was learning in school wasn't resonating into their outside life, which I realized is that wow, and that's the gaps in education, and also the reality of the youth that we encounter overall. So over time, I started adjusting and learning more and more that, okay, the more that I learn about myself and my people and where I come from and why the environment I am don't help me. So like a lot of situations, people would be like, hey, how is my uncle with drunk in certain situations, right? But then you go outside and you see a beer distributor on every corner. Or you see like, oh, how is my aunt not healthy or have diabetes? And then you see a Chinese store on every corner, and things like that, will allows me to realize that, hey, this environment is not good for me. Even though that this might be the norm, I realized that it's still there to hurt us. And what made me realize that is once I went to college, to Millersville University, out in Lancaster, PA, where I live at now. At first, it was like, hey, where the stores at? I'm used to stores on every corner. I can go to the corner store and buy a quick soda or anything like that for cheap. And to now, you got to go to grocery stores all the time and things like that. You had to go farther distance or go in more bigger stores rather than corner stores or Chinese stores or bodegas. Things that have a larger variety of natural foods, organic foods, rather than a store that just serves more just sugar and caffeine and things like that. So after doing experiencing that and seeing how people interact with each other in Lancaster, seeing how people talk to each other in Lancaster, one main thing that stuck out, resonated with me the most, was the fact that in Philadelphia, you can hear sirens all the time. You hear people screaming. You see pigeons. You don't see birds. not too much. Not too much grass, land, and things like that. But when I came to Lancaster, and this was at 17, I realized that instantly. I'm like, hey, I don't hear sirens. Hey, I hear birds chirping. I never knew birds can chirp. Oh, I see land. I see farms, acres of land. And I don't see people walking around, people on the corners, things like that. People are actively doing things or going towards something, as far as the job and a meeting, things that people are actively going somewhere. In Philadelphia, obviously, you can see a lot of people just standing around doing nothing. What makes nothing more normal. It's okay to go outside and be on the corner and just kicking it with your friends, which is okay. But every day, all day, consistently, that what made that environment made it normal. It normalized the 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 possibility of being stagnant. Um, and putting myself in a different environment, what allows me to see that. And then that's the whole purpose of this presentation today, is just go outside sometimes. Just close your eyes, go outside and just listen. How do that make you feel? Do you feel as though there's a lot of commotion? There's a lot of things that you feel as though that might not intertwine, or go deep into your energy and your goals and where you trying to go. If what you hear don't pleases you, then that means that it's something else that's missing. And that would make me realize that, going to Philadelphia, going outside and just listening and just hearing just sirens and people screaming and just loud music sometimes, it definitely can throw off your frequency and definitely not give you that full 100% that you should feel when you wake up. As into now, I go outside, I don't use an alarm. The birds be so loud, chirping, that wakes me up. As into the first thing I wake up to in Philadelphia was sirens and violence and things like that. So that automatically put me in a different reality and definitely changed my perspective on how to see the world. And I know once before I used to go to psychiatry for just understanding like myself and things like that. And one thing I realized in taking psychiatry is that well, psychologists, is that they can help you mentally. They can help you mentally and physically, but when it comes to yourself, you have to do it for you. You have to. They can't change your environment at all. You have to exclude yourself out of that environment. But first, you have to realize you are in that environment. sometimes we are accustomed to things that's not healthy, but knowing that the knowing is what changes everything. Um, what are some sounds of your environment? So some sounds of the environment. Now, honestly, definitely plays a key role because what you hear every day. I know a thing right now that is going on in Philadelphia is no rap before 12. That's the main thing. Oh, wait 1 second. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all still hear me? Just double checking. I kind of
Yes, we can.
froze.
Yes.
You're
All right,
good.
perfect. So one thing that's going on in Philadelphia now is that no rap before 12. Because now people are realizing the music that you're listening to and the frequencies is within that can get you in a rowdy mood early in the morning, right? So learning certain things like that, R&B or whatever the case, that even just sounds, just instrumentals or just somebody playing a piano, saxophone, things like that can definitely change your mood and how you perceive and interact with people soon you wake up. Because a lot of people like, I don't like people around me when I wake up. And it's like, sometimes you should wake up and feel good. It's good to, and this is what I learned in Lancaster too. Everybody say hello and good morning. Addington, Philadelphia is like, you got to keep your head down or people like, what are you looking at? So that alone can definitely put you in a wrong environment. So even growing up, in Philadelphia, the negative influence with like just having that exposure and the access to guns, for example. Guns is literally every kid is like, that's nothing. Every kid have a guns in their house. So every kid, the normalization of having guns is what made things seem like it is acceptable, right? But that is not at all. Having that access and making it cool and making it like it's a new toy is what thrives off the negativity of the environment. So even growing up as a kid and you saying, hey, that's not cool, or hey, you do not accept that, that will make you look like an outsider. What means your environment automatically excluding you from what you naturally know is not a positive thing. So just knowing those type things can also always put you in a box. You got to be comfortable with just being an outsider, being an outlier, and just sticking true to you and your faith and understanding that you are trying to do something positive. Sometimes the positive thing, you know how growing up they always say like the cool guy is the cool guy, but as you get older, the cool guy is not the cool guy no more. The kids that the youth that's in the back that everybody making fun of usually turns out to be the most successful one because they so locked in since day one on their craft and they understand what they wanted and what they wanted to do for themselves. They never wanted to please others or trying to fit into the trends. It was always their own trend, even if it was cool or even if it was lame, they always stuck to what made them happy. So being in Philadelphia, it definitely showed me a lot, but it didn't reveal itself until I got out of it. So definitely always take a trip. Your dreams is right there. Imagine that your favorite car, go to the dealership and test drive that car. You definitely can. Go to that dream house and get a showing because you definitely can. Go to the place that you want to go to, any places that you want to view, any places you want to travel to search it up on YouTube and do like a little introductory of it, or get try to find little videos that show you the lifestyle of that area. Even though things might seem far away and it might not be in the environment that you are into, but there are other ways around it that you can expose yourself to, and you know that it is an arm reach. As long as you put yourself and know that is realistic, it is a real tangible thing, even though it's not right there physically, you know you can obtain it. And that's one thing that I definitely do a lot with myself. Dream houses that I wanted to go to, I'm at half when I get older. I try to visit them, I try to just drive by them, just picture myself in them cars that I feel as though that I want, test drive them, things like that. So it make your dreams and your reality, and it make it your dreams then become your reality. But I definitely appreciate you guys for having me. Definitely hope that you definitely get some out of this presentation. And I'm definitely looking forward to working with you guys a lot more, and anybody that definitely feel touched about this presentation and looking to get any insight or understanding on how when I was growing up as a kid to get me out of the into the mindset that I have now and the self-development growth that I had to put into myself and invest in myself so that I could be in this position today. But thank you for having me. And if anybody have any questions, comments, and concerns, definitely feel free to reach out, or can they put that in the chat?
Yes, so we have one question in the chat, and Esther asks, can you explain gangs and our youth and how you were able to, slid up 1 second, how were you able to navigate their influence in Philadelphia? It seems like a growing problem in all communities. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So with the gangs, so Philadelphia really not a gang city. It's more so like blocks per se. So like one person, one block, one street might be beefing with another street. So say you're on like 18th and Diamond, they might be beefing with like 19th and Diamond, which is crazy because they're technically neighbors. But with that, it's really hard, honestly. But the main thing is basically about just getting the youth to understand that it's not cool. It's really hard to really try to compete with the cool guys, which is the street guys, because they're the ones with the clothes, they're the ones with the jewelry, they're the ones with the money, they're the ones with the cars. They're the ones with the guns, whatever the case may be. So just trying to keep it and understanding that this is not cool. Like this is where this is going to lead up to. And my main thing is getting guys that's in jail, well, not in jail, but just came home from jail, because no guy that just come from home from jail say that that's cool. Most of my experience, the guys that come from jail is really more so based on reality. Like, hey, you don't want to do this. So getting them more exposed, getting them more out there, getting them more speaking to the youth, definitely make a good impact. Because a lot of those youth never went to jail and never really got that full experience of what the road they're trying to go down to. And when they do, over time, it definitely will spark something. I see another question. Studies have shown that mutual arts can reduce aggression over time by teaching respect, humanity, and nonviolent conflict. Is there a place in Philadelphia to implement this kind? There is places in Philadelphia that do implement these type things. One is obviously the NAACP. Also, I say another place is Freedom Schools. Freedom Schools is a really good program. They do it every summer. It's happening now. And basically teaching kids about how to, they even teach kids like how to do understanding emotions. So in the classrooms and certain things like that, they paint it to a certain mood. So say for example, if you're in the art room, the back of the wall would be probably like yellow, because they understand the sensory skills and understanding how colors can affect how youth feel. So a lot of and this is the main problem I have with schools across the board. While all the walls is white and it's bricks, it's still some sort of gel. It still don't make you feel welcome, holistic, and make you feel like, hey, I want to be here. If you just see white walls that have no type of vibrant energy to it, you're gonna feel like you're in a constrained environment. So my main thing is definitely trying to get schools to get some outside community members, artists to come in and paint the walls, create things that's around the community, buildings that's in the community, influential people in the community, or different designs and colors that's motivate the youth. So when they come to school, they can feel that vibrant energy rather than going through metal detectors, getting patted down, and then all they see is white walls. So all that plays a role in their environment and how they their energy is so diluted. But yeah, that was a great question.
Robert, I'd like to ask, I think when I was reading your bio, just hearing that at 17 years old, you are a founder of a nonprofit organization, the QEYC, that you've talked about here. Can you talk us through how a 17-year-old, gets a $250,000 grant from the School District of Philadelphia? And how did you work through those early years of implementation? And just tell us a little bit about how QEYC has evolved.
Right. Yeah. When I was in high school, my graduation year, well, my senior year, I was working. Well, throughout my whole high school, I was working with Philadelphia Freedom Schools, what I just mentioned. But that final year, that's when I realized that 2009, a lot of schools, Well, no, 2013. I started working at Philadelphia Freedom Schools in 2009, all the way up to 2013. 2013 is when a lot of schools across America was closing, like Chicago, Baltimore, Philadelphia. A lot of those schools was getting hit, and that was my way to try to put a Band-Aid on it, is to show like they are closing because they are missing this. They are closing because how you the curriculum is being implemented. The fact that I was with Philadelphia Freedom School so long, I had a great mentor named Boomy Samuel. He the one who started the Philadelphia Freedom School movement. Is all over the country, but he brought it to Philadelphia specifically. And with him being my mentor, him having a connection with the school district, he literally said, "Hey, listen, this is all youth ran, but I'm gonna give you some sense of direction." So us doing the research, me, him, and also I had three other classmates that was a part of it with me as well. Um, and we just did all our research to try to understand why these schools were closing. Philadelphia specifically, what is the grades of these schools? What is the resources of these schools? And the area of the schools too, as well, because the area controls the environment. And then once we got that research and data, we realized that at the end of the day, these schools are closing for the lack of resources or the lack of youth engagement. And youth engagement is not just obviously you can pass and fail the test, but how engaged are you? The biggest component in the school is your community. Is like the church, the school. Those are the two main things that's in the community. So how involved the youth are in their community through their school, and that's was something that we implemented in our in the nonprofit and QEYC, that every youth had to have some type of call to action to the community, whether it's having better healthier choices in the corner store, or having some type of trash cleanup crew, or whatever the case may be, that they felt like it was a problem in their community, and how we can come together and solve that problem. And also the youth obviously was getting paid, it was getting stipends, so it was untaxed. um so them having that as an incentive didn't make it feel like it was more so like volunteer work. They felt like they had bought into the program, and that they also was making a impact within a program and within a community through the program. So that was definitely really good. The program was going on. uh, so the main purpose of the program is that it's youth driven. So it was always a person that's going to college, like a freshman in college. So at that time, I was going to college, so I was fit the requirement perfectly. But once I got done, like that first second year, I wasn't in the program no more, because now the whole purpose of the program is so that it can stay fresh and stay innovated by the youth. So we had it structured was though you have at least about 10, 15 kids that's freshman year in college. Those be the ones that are the directors and the program directors and things like that. And then we have a certain amount of 12th graders, 11th graders, and 10th graders, and a little bit amount of ninth graders, because what we established was intergenerational learning. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of programs don't understand that youth learn most from each other, but you gotta have it at a strategic planning, was though each one can learn from each other and experience something that they all experience, but also experience something differently at the same time. So for a youth that's in the 12th grade, him or her don't know what they about to get into when college starts. But that person that just started that first year in college going to tell them everything they've been through, all the majors, minors, dormitories, all those things that you don't really get in school. And then what you do get in the school is kind of watered down and sugar coated. But that youth right there is going to keep it as honest and as real as possible to tell you that experience, so you can know it is or it's not for you. The 12th graders is obviously the ones that's doing the senior projects like I did, the internships and things like that. And they the ones going to tell the 11th graders this is what they about to get into, because they about to graduate. So like is it wash and repeat, wash and repeat. So now that is youth driven, it allows the youth to keep it fresh and keep it going. The program was going on about 5 years. Right now it's on a little stagnant right now, because obviously funding and things like that, and the presidency and everything like that. But it's definitely still going on in little amounts, and that's my next goal now moving forward, to get that established in Lancaster.
Well, that'll be great. As someone that's where I reside, so that'd be wonderful to see that work come to fruition here. I think that's an powerful statement you said, where youth, they want and can learn easier from youth. Just that that connection, that identification through being amongst each other with very close in age. If you want to know what college is about to be like, ask the person that just went through their first year with it, and so forth.
Exactly.
So I really appreciate the model that you created with that there. And
Yes,
feel
thank
free to the audience, please feel free to continue dropping questions or comments in the chat. But because I have a few more under my belt as well that I'd like to ask. But
Yes,
I
please.
definitely want to
Yes.
give space to the audience here, because I think what's so impressive with you, Robert, is you recognized your environment early. Just to hear you talk about the sounds of your environment, your comment where you said you didn't even know birds could chirp. I think that's profound for people who just walk outside and hear birds chirping and you go about your day, you don't even think about it, unless
Exactly.
you came from an area where it's all sirens, all people yelling and noise. I also wasn't aware of the no rap until noon. And and so just hearing those different things, it allows each of us in the space to take a look at our own environments and what do we have that are privileges that we may not even recognize off the break until we hear from someone else that comes from a different environment, right? Um,
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the main thing I tell youth too as well. Like when I was growing up in Philadelphia, like a coffee wasn't really a thing. Like we were drinking Arizona iced teas or homemade lemonades from the Chinese store. As into now, I don't have really access to those things no more. But now it turned to like macchiatos and lattes. I never in a million years, if I felt like if I would have stayed in Philadelphia, I would have been drinking those type things. But now being in Lancaster and knowing like, hey, this is what I need. Well, not need, but this is what I like to have to get energy in the morning, and it tastes good. Now it give me in a different understanding and knowing the different words and slangos and stuff like that on how to even the things I put in my body. So it definitely definitely changed a lot.
Yes, absolutely. And we all know that history and data speaks to itself that in areas of higher concentration or higher poverty levels, all of that intertwines with our health, with the air that we breathe, with our standard of life, our quality of life. You mentioned earlier that doing nothing every day turns into a situation where it's normalized. And that expectation then is set that chilling on the corner stoop is enough for the day, and in order to be to outgrow your environment, you have to be an outcast. You have to be that outlier. So I just find some of these little one-liners that you're sharing with us through your story and your experience are so profound and full of wisdom, that it will help shape the youth that come across your path. So
Yes, thank you.
I wanted to see if you would touch on, in your bio here, you talk about working with some A-list celebrities, elected officials, online influencers. Can you share with us a little bit more about that work?
Yes, absolutely. So during the year of 2000, so what was that? It's 2024. So I say about 2000, 2020. Obviously it was like during COVID. It was a well, not great. It was a disaster, a great disaster. So I teamed up with Isaiah Thomas, the city councilman at large in Philadelphia. Also Charlie Mack, which is the manager of Will Smith. Also DJ Diamond Cuts. Also Soraya off of Empire, and I had them come together and do a free performance and free lecture to the youth of Philadelphia, over 200 youth for prom, because obviously a lot of youth couldn't do prom during COVID years, and it's another thing that affects a lot of youth too with the environment. But a lot of youth didn't get that prom experience that we did growing up, as far as dressing nice, get the carpet, go to your school, take some pictures, and go out to eat and things like that. Because of COVID, the whole world was shut down. So the youth was on a Zoom just like this, dressed up in they ties, they suits, they gowns, they dresses, listen to DJ Diamond Cuts, playing her music and things like that, and giving them that experience with A-list celebrities. Definitely like Charlie Mack, who the manager, well, was the manager and the person that got Will Smith started, and him giving a lecture and things like that, telling them to keep going, don't let this COVID situation harness them at all. So that's one thing that I did. Also, I had Quilly Mills, which is one of the a legendary rapper in Philadelphia. Had him come out and give back to the youth, doing a free performance, a free concert. Also, something I did a lot, but something that was more recently. That's over the years, starting from 2020. Something that I did recently that just passed. We had in Lancaster. I hosted the Reservoir Park celebration. The fair. So we had Mama D come out, Drew Sador, Mama D, which is Scrappy Mom. Drew Sador, she played Left Eye on TLC. Came out and gave a free performance too, as well, to the community. So most of the times with the A-list celebrities and things like that I do is all typically free, 99% free, and it's all just to give back to the youth and give youth and the community an opportunity to see a celebrity or get a performance that they 9 times out of 10 can't afford. When I was growing up, I never ever went to a concert. I never seen a celebrity. I never, I never had that experience outside the TV. So me being able to do that, having the opportunity to do that, and connecting with different community partners and things like that, definitely helps out a lot. And with the Source magazine, I was on there talking about politics and how it's important for people to vote locally rather than presidential wise, because a lot of people always want to vote every 4 years when you should be voting twice a year. So that was my approach on there. But just the more and more I inform, more and more I get out into the community and do my social media presence is definitely allowed me to get connected with more celebrities and different people like that. And I also was the manager for Yaz the Great off of Empire through the Briefcase group. So me being the A&R for the Briefcase group allows me to manage celebrities and be around a lot of different celebrities too as well.
Wow, thank you so much for that. It just reminds me again how important outreach is in the community. It goes back to in the very beginning when you were saying, drive the car you might not be ready to buy, or go look at the houses that you might not be ready to purchase, but dream. Everything that we achieve and where we're at today once was a thought.
Right.
And so it has to start with that, and there's no problem with aiming high. So I think when I think of the children and opportunities that you have provided them that they may have never been able to receive, at least during their childhood, is a wonderful example of your humanitarianism and your outreach with the community. There's a couple comments in the chat I'd like to read to you. Jason writes, "This is very informative. Keep up the amazing work." Our director of
Thank you,
HR
Kristen.
says, "You are awesome, Robert."
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I definitely appreciate y'all jumping on this call too as well and definitely getting this knowledge. I know it was very last minute, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I give y'all as much information and give as much as me as possible, no matter what time or what the cause is, honestly.
I saw that poverty is, another major issue that you try to help with by breaking generational poverty. You talk about helping the youth learn how to invest and get into entrepreneurship. Can you share a little bit about the work you do with respect to that?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of when I was growing up, obviously the only sales job was selling drugs. So selling drugs was the only job that you can do. Well, was exposed to as an entrepreneur or a philanthropist. As I got older, I started learning how to talk because first in elementary school and middle school, I had a speech impediment, so I had to have a speech teacher come teach me how to say certain words, vowels, and things like that. But as I got older and started practicing on my speaking, I started doing really well, and I started learning about people, and I learned that sales is really good as far as being a salesman, selling cars and things like that. So my first sales job was more so selling like credit repairs, and then after that, it was business to business. Business to business. I did credit repair sales for about like 5 years. And then after that, I started doing business to business marketing teams, selling businesses marketing teams so that they can elevate their business online, scale their business online through e-commerce. And that allowed me to see that there's other ways to make money outside a 9 to 5 job. A lot of our people feel as though that a 9 to 5 job is the only way to make money, or sell drugs is the only way to make money. But even say investing your money in things that you buy every day can make you money, and understanding that a 401k can definitely go a long way, definitely if you started at 17. So me educating youth like, hey, a 401k is good. Don't make people think that you need to go buy this to flip that and stuff like that. Sometimes 1% adds up over time. 1% on 365 days is 365%. So not actually saying like hey, do this, do that is going to make you money, but just exposing them to different ways on how to make money. As far as like investing into stocks, well, my main thing with youth is definitely with women specifically, or my young youth women, is like, hey, you buy makeup, right? Makeup is really good. You spend money on makeup and you see how makeup has transformed over the last 10 years. It's definitely going to be a good business to invest in. So just you got $5, just put $5 into a makeup brand that you use all the time. Because then when you see people using that brand as you're making your money. Even if it's 0.1% or whatever the case may be, you know you are investing in something that you see people using and that you see that is on the rise. So, and that's just one aspect that I use for youth as far as like whatever you see, the trends, because youth are really good at seeing trends. And that's how social media started and TikTok and things like that. If you see a trend, it's okay to make a video and a TikTok and a reel, but also that trend you can invest in too as well. So it's different ways that you can do that, different platforms and things like that. But my main thing that made me understand that was getting into sales, being around millionaires. I met my first millionaire at 21. He came to Philadelphia because one of my credit, like I said, I was selling credit repair. My credit repair team was the biggest and fastest growing credit repair team in the country from a company that was based in Atlanta. So the owner came down, is the um, only black credit repair company in the country, fully black owned, in Atlanta called Nove. Rico McDaniels, he was in Forbes 500 too as well. Came down and introduced himself. Him and Terrell Owens, which is he was one of the top sales rep in Verizon, and now with the CEO 500 with Neo Davis and them guys, and came down and introduced themselves as like, hey man, what you're doing with this team is great, but also these are some tools and opportunities for you to do to learn how to make money, learn financial literacy, learn about your credit, learn about the value of your name, and putting your money where you need to go. So that definitely helped me a lot.
Okay, thank you for that. And we have a comment and then another question here.
Okay.
Ditto to the comments before mine, says Cindy. I can see where young people will relate and listen to you, Robert. Encouraging them to vote local at this critical time is vital for our youth and their future.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and it's young and old when it comes to local, because that's that's a battle that I'm always facing. Like a lot of people, like, yeah, I vote every 4 years. And I'm like, you should be voting for the judge, the city commissioner, the cops, like all that. And people complain about things that they don't vote for, and they think the president is going to change all those things when it's really not that. My first, when I was in high school, my elective was political science, and my teacher for political science is Isaiah Thomas, who won city councilman at large at Philadelphia right now. So I got firsthand experience on how important it is to vote locally. And then seeing that obviously people talk about like, oh, certain presidents win with no help. And it's because we don't send them the help. We don't vote for the help. We just vote for that one person, but we don't vote for the backup. And typically the youth don't vote at all. It's mainly older population, and they only vote for that seat. And into my approach is more so getting the youth more exposed to voting and the process of voting and understanding how important it is voting, because that demographic does not vote at all. So, and that's my approach to getting them more exposed and getting them more comfortable with voting.
Yes, and that's wonderful because their voice matters, and they have to learn how to use it and get out there to the polls for all the different levels as well. So I
Exactly, because
appreciate
they
that.
see it. Because you see that when we vote for somebody, they vote don't typically go to that. So, say for example, a lot of people like, oh, I voted for this guy. My mom, my grandma voted for this guy, but he still didn't win, and they don't understand why. And then there's obviously the electoral college and things like that, and a lot of people don't understand that. But they just be like, hey, there's no point of voting because they still going to choose who they want. And that's where it ends. But the lack of communication and education, the understanding on why they didn't win, is where that gray line comes. So me explaining local government is the way that can cure both parties, honestly, in certain situations. But yeah.
Yes, thank you. Montrell Smith, he's one of our outreach coordinators for the Civil Rights Division at the PHRC. He asks, have you
Hmm.
had any struggles in Lancaster bringing people out for community events versus Philadelphia, which is the bigger city? If so, what techniques are you using in Lancaster?
Right. Philadelphia. So that's a great question. So I use my same styles in Philadelphia and Lancaster, except for Philadelphia is more so, it's easier to get into groups in Philadelphia because there's so many. And that's like community groups and things like that. As into Lancaster is all spread it out. So the more that you people see you, the more that people see you going around as far as like mixers, ribbon cuttings, online meetings, literally being everywhere and everything, doing everywhere. So people see me all the time, and my social medias, everything like that. I gear my whole life around what I do, so I never literally leave no loose ends. So like if a person see me out having a coffee, they can have a conversation with me about work. It don't really feel like work for me at all because at the end of the day, this is what I resonate my life to be. So being in every meeting and every situation all the time, and then people would get more and more familiar with your face. More so with the youth, it was more so like them seeing me out in the community a lot, and also being where they're at. I go play basketball with them. I go play basketball when I go to the places they eat, places they see, and then I connect with the businesses too as well. So say if the youth is going to the club, I'm connecting with the owner of the club so that I can go and spread my message in certain times and certain things like that. Or if they go into certain arcades and stuff like that, I'm gonna connect with the owner so I can have a little leeway so they can see me there as well. So I try to go to places they go, connect with the owners, and then give my message that way.
So that's great advice because a lot of what the Civil Rights Division does at PHRC is outreach, and we're out in the community all the time. And I think it just goes to show the importance of physically being out somewhere, connecting with the people, what the ripple effects are from that connection. So I thank you for sharing on that piece too. I would
No
say,
problem.
as we're getting close to wrapping up this PHRC Lunch and Learn today, it's been phenomenal listening to you and just hearing your wisdom. You're an old soul, Robert.
Thank you. Very.
Would you mind leaving us with some words of wisdom, understanding that, we're all from, some of us in here are from PHRC, some of us are from different entities, different backgrounds, lived experiences, but regardless of where we're at in life, what would be some words of wisdom you'd like to impart with us today?
Oh, that's perfect. I'll say two things. The first one, if you don't know where you want to go or how you're going to get there, do your research on the people that came before you. Think about your culture, think about your grandmom, your great grandmom, things like that. And if you don't know, talk to somebody who do know. So if you don't know about your great grandmom, talk to your grandma or your mom, something like that. They probably know something about their story that might impact you. I know with me, I know that my great great grandmom came off like literally from Cuba, from nowhere, and just made a way. So that helps me to encourage me every day. Like if she can do it, I can do it. The great diaspora, my ancestors that went through it, people died for me to be here today. So for me to complain about certain things like hot water, or it's too hot, or the heat wave, my ancestors been through way worse. So it's mind over matter when you know where you came from, and that allows you to know where you're going. Also, for the people that's in this field, if you feel like this is a job, this is not for you at all. If you feel as though this is only happening from 9 to 5, you're not going to get the results that you want. This job is not a job, it's a lifestyle. So if you want to get the result that you want to be and get, you have to implement it within your lifestyle. It had to become one with you. If you only do it within 9 to 5, you're only gonna get half the results. If you do it a little bit outside of that to get a little overtime, you might get 75% of the results. But if you do it all day, wait, think, sleep, breathe it, I promise you your results going to be effortless.
Robert, at just 29, we appreciate the wisdom you have imparted with us today. Our director of HR says we need a speaker like him, very positive. So we
Thank
just
you. I'm
want to thank
always
you.
ready.
I certainly hope and expect that this will not be the first and last time that we engage with you, Robert. This has been a phenomenal afternoon PHRC Lunch and Learn session. I don't see any more questions or comments here, so I will go ahead and round this out with just some closing remarks. Again, Robert, we want to thank you again for your time and just making today a successful afternoon conversation and dialogue with you. I wanted to talk about two upcoming PHRC events. Please know we have our 2025 Disability Conference. It's free. It's scheduled for July 31st from 9 to 3:30 at Harrisburg Hilton. We have virtual attendance options available. Please register, check it out on our website. And one of our next Lunch and Learn for July is scheduled July 29th at 12 p.m. with Dr. Jessica Reinhardt. Her background consists of mental health of children and adolescents, culturally responsive counseling, and trauma-conscious teaching. And the title of that PHRC Lunch and Learn is Curiosity in Action, Honoring the Everyday Practices that Support Trauma-Responsive Work. And with that, everyone, thank you so much. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Enjoy your weekend.